Shalom, shalom. Kal halalim la Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Korash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and elder bishops of Great Millstone. And shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,000 and 1/3. Okay? And may the spirit of endurance be upon you, and if it's the Lord's will, upon your households as well. And to all collectively pray, that time speeds up faster than it is going right now. Okay. Shalom. Now, I'm not a huge techie kind of individual. I only, I'm one of them individuals. I only use what I need to use, and I try to use it in a simplistic way. Nevertheless, I see here I go again with the digression. Right. Now, to see the world, as you know, unless you've don't watch mainstream news or even the sort of woke news outlets or other media outlets that give you its truth and its transparency. And if you are going to watch media, try and watch the ones, companies that are based in the East, especially India, Russia, and the so-called Middle East or West Asia, right? They give you some truth. You can watch the mainstream ones as well. It's got to pick the meat from the bones and use logic as well, right? But ultimately, try filtering through the scriptures. But if you want to really get some intricate information, watch the apostles and elders on down, okay? Because they know they're ninjas with the scriptures, okay? And they're the men of the Lord, and they can give you, man, in spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yeshua, those answers are given. All right, right. The world is heading towards more of a digital. It's a digital world. The warmth and the world that people are sort of used to, especially those that are in their late 40s or 50s, where customer care, human contact, empathy were all involved when speaking to somebody, whether you're calling, whatever kind of organization you're calling, whether it's, I don't know, a bank, some kind of company, or even actually trying to speak to a human being, whether you're trying to find out about a specific product or service, or all these kinds of things, or you're trying to get a hold of a company. Now, most companies are, a lot of them I've noticed are getting rid of their phone numbers, to avoid, getting cold calls from salespeople and things like that. So a lot of individuals are going more towards, the method where that human element is removed. So we're going to more of a AI digital world, right? And they present these scenarios in front of you, the powers that be, like 2030 or by these specific dates. All right. Esau thinks he's a so-called white man. Okay. Esau is, Esau, who's a so-called white man, the biblical name, Esau, the Edomites, wants to be like the Most High. So they're specifying dates and times that they're going to get their new world order off the ground. The whole world will be like this, down the third, digital pound, digital dollar. Okay. But the thing is, Yahweh Shai can speed this thing up. And as you can see, and as you know, Jake, right? You wake up and before you know it, you're doing something. Like yesterday, I got back from the store and it was like 8:30 in the evening. And between me parking my car and getting into the kitchen, I said to myself, where did the half an hour go by? It's like time is going very, very quick. All right. And Revelation 12, verse 12 says that the devil's going to come down with great wrath. And Yahweh Shemashai controls everything. Man's goings are of the Lord. And the Lord seals your instructions, when you sleep. Okay? So you may, assume that you have free will, but there's no such thing as free will. Even if you think prior to making a left turn or a right turn, the Lord puts that in your mind. You might think that, okay, this is what I'm going to do today. But no, the Lord has, your own, the Lord has a story for every single individual on the planet, Israelites or heathen, right? So as time is speeding up, Esau's going to come in harder. This 2030 thing, me personally, right, this is me speaking as a man, an Israelite man, I don't think it's going to go that long. Because it's damn near, it's 2025. 5 more years in this hell, Me personally, I don't think so. Lord willing, man, we could be in the kingdom next year. Lord, if it's the Lord's will, everything is the Lord's will, man. All right. Obviously, we want it quick time. We'd rather have it sooner rather than later, of course. But the Lord has to do everything in His divine way, and the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is doing it. Now, I've got a couple of articles and a couple of pages open, so I'm going to try and go through them. Hopefully, it'll come together and make sense. Right. Digital. Now, what they're trying to do is, along with promoting technology or technocracy, and now Elder Yashawamba comes out about this all the time. Now, I sometimes trying to, they're very knowledgeable elders, man. So we learn from them, right? So I'm going to go into the definition of technocracy. Okay. Now, like I said, always say in every video, man, subscribe to the men of the Lord, the men of Great Millstone, the apostles on down. All right. Elder bishops, all the other elders, Elder Malcolm, Elder Yashawamba, all the other great, cool prophets. I said, listen, man, they're like a family that comes together, man. Whoever your spirit connects with, but subscribe to them. All right. Definition of technocracy. Technocracy is okay. Now, Elder Yashawamba goes into this in extreme detail. Very edifying lessons the elder does. Elder of GMS Dallas, by the way. Okay. Technocracy, the government or control of society or industry by an elite of technical experts. Okay. So they want to control you with technology. All right. And how they're going to control you with technology? They're going to make everything to the point where, back in the day, a person would keep their life's earnings literally under their mattress or in their mattress. It'll be cash money. People have a box underneath their bed. Or they would keep it, literally keep it in the house in like some kind of metal box or something with a padlock on it, or money just piled up, change and all that kind of thing. People actually do that, and that wasn't too long ago. What was that, 70, 80 years ago? Even as early as the 70s, right? I mean, sorry, even as late even the 70s. Now they talk about, the C19 thing came out, right? All right. Now, what do they do? Oh, you can't touch the money. It's got disease in it, or it's, it can contracts. You can contract something from it. They had intervened, and the so-called white man Esau covered everything. Okay, you can't use cash. You go to some kind of theme park with your children, you got to buy a prepaid debit card. So you got to put money on there to use their debit card to use whatever services you do use there, or you can use your own debit or credit card. So no cash. Okay, most countries around the world are getting rid of the large denominations of money. All right, India getting rid of their 100 rupees, is it 100 rupees or 1,000 rupee notes, and I believe America has let go of its large denominations as well. Where I used to watch movies as a child, and you would see like in movies where they're showing them, somebody with like a $1,000 note, they'd have it in a money clip or in a money belt, carrying large denominations of money. And a lot of countries are getting rid of certain coins because those specific certain coins cost a lot more to make So the way they see it is a waste of money spending extra. Like if you're spending, let's just say you're making £1, right? And to make that £1, you have to spend £2.50. What is the point of spending £2.50 to make a £1 coin? I remember we used to have a £1 note when I was a child in the 80s. Then they got rid of the £1 note. Now it's a £1 coin. We used to have half pennies, right? They got rid of the half penny. So over a period of time, I've seen a lot change. Because remember, I'm in my late 40s. I'm not, I'm old and I'm young. You know what I mean? Right? So I remember a lot of change. And I've seen things go up in value. Right? I remember my mum saying to me that in the 70s, she could do shopping, right, with £1. £1 could cover, in the early 70s, 50 years ago, could pretty much cover a week's shopping. Healthy groceries are talking about, not none of that genetically modified bullshit, crisps and chips and chocolates and all that. We're talking about, lentils and vegetables or chicken and things like that. Flour, milk, back in those days. And this is in the UK, right? Now, you got to damn near, and then in the 80s, you could spend 100, 200 pounds and or even £100 in the 80s. I remember I would go shopping with my mum and my dad, and the larger trolley, there'd be two trolleys, one medium, one large, and the large one would be just full right to the brim, like a mountain, right? And you spend that money, £100 will cover a lot. Now you spend £100, it's not much. Okay, so I've seen a lot of change where a lot of countries around the world are getting rid of the large denominations of money, and this happening, and you can see it. And then the C19 thing with the disease, you can't touch physical money, right? Then they're going to talk about, oh, you can't touch physical money. They're going to use many enticements as well. Your pets are going to go missing. Get your pets, because this is ultimately going to lead to the CHIP, the RF to the I to the D. Because when they crash the financial system, that's what they're going to do. That's what they will do. So what they're doing, they're putting all the chess pieces into place. So when they do crash the economy, they got a solution. All right, okay, and that's where problem reaction solution comes. Okay, all right. The problem reaction solution framework is a pattern often used in rhetoric communication and even political manipulation to shape public opinion and gain acceptance for a particular outcome. What's the particular outcome for the elites? They want to have a world that's locked down and controlled by them. They want to see where your money's going, where it's coming. They want to keep track of you. They want to put the CHIP in you so they can see where you are, so they can be like God. They want to know what you're spending, what you're thinking, so they can be like God. And when movies come out like Minority Report, okay? All right? Then they're going to scare you. Then they're talking about diseases, creating more problems. Oh, you can't touch the money. So therefore, digital money. All right. Right. They're going to talk about, oh, okay. So since, then they might come out with saying, okay, cool. Since, we're going digital and you're worried about diseases, you're worried about safety of your children, you're worried about keeping all your ID card on you, right? Digital wallet, digital ID, all these elements, safety, health, yeah, and also the way to pay for goods and services, and also when the financial system crashes, right? They're gonna say, okay, if you want your life to go back to normal, right? If you want to pay bills, if you want to still go to the club, if you want to still take your children on holiday, if you still want to have, ultimately what most men want is have a decent job, earn good money, take care of their family, and on a Friday and Saturday, get it in with a woman and have a few beers and watch a game or whatever. In the UK, it'd be soccer. In America, it'd be whatever, soccer and cricket. Over here, over there, be like American football, which you guys call football, or basketball, right? And over here too, vice versa. We like pretty much all the sports. That's what somebody wants, and to have a future. So people will be scared and put into a corner where there's health, wealth, okay, or your well-being, right, and also to hold on to some kind of normalcy. Okay, they'll create all these different problems, all right, and then they'll talk about, okay, the world is moving into more of a technological progression. Okay, we are not. They're gonna use a term like, "Oh, we are not in the dark ages," right? They're gonna use terms like that. Okay, and people are so scared with the disease thing, right? And you can't touch physical money. They're going to create all these different elements, put all these different elements together into a pot, right? To ultimately, right, which will lead to ultimately to give you the CHIP, all right? And that CHIP will come obviously once a financial system infrastructure crashes, right? Some will willingly take it before that happens, okay? But a lot of people will take it afterwards. People that don't want to take it, you know, they know what's going on, with the so-called conspiracy theories, which are facts for the most part, right? Okay, and people will take it. Okay, here's a breakdown. Problem: a situational issue is highlighted or even created, often in a way that evokes strong emotions or concerns. Reaction: the public or a target audience is encouraged to react to the problem, often feeling urgency or a need for action. Solution: a solution is then offered, which often appears to address the problem and may be presented as the only or best way to resolve it. What they're gonna present, the CHIP, you know. This pattern is sometimes used in conjunction with Hegelian dialectic. Even P of Mobb Deep made a I think it was an album called Hegelian Dialectic. They give you clues, man. Even your rappers let you know about this because they're lower level luminaries. All right, this pattern is sometimes used in conjunction with a Hegelian dialectic, where the problem is a thesis, the reaction is an antithesis, and the solution is a synthesis, according to Goodreads. All right, some interesting stuff here to read, man. You know, let's go to a scripture because I've been. Here we go. Ecclesiasticus 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And now a lot of our people are going to trust in the so-called white man. After people always talk about the wickedness. Jake always talks about the wickedness of our people, right? When I say Jake, I'm talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and those of that paternal lineage, the 12 tribes, right, of Negro to Indian descent. Now, our people would talk about each other, which is true. We're not right either, okay? But the two-thirds have to exist as well, all right? Because a lot of them, because of past actions, and a lot of them sold the Lord out, sold our people out, and a lot of them are just in the way of Yasharala's rise in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Hashai, and they'll talk about how the people, or what they call the ethnic minorities, act, especially so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. But they don't realize, how did they get there? How did they get into that condition? Why are they like this? Why are they like this? They don't go and follow the breadcrumbs and say, okay, cool. The problem behind all this is always a pale hand that looks red and pink like a pig. It's a so-called white man, the Edomites. They're the problem to everything. People, that's why they're trying to wipe out history, because they don't want you to go back or even look right now to see who is the problem of the earth. Who went to every country and fucked it up? Who went to every country and destroyed it? Who went to every country and graped it? From its minerals, resources, and literally also graping the people, their culture, colonizing, renaming lands, giving democracy to them. Who's doing that? Who's doing all the enslaving? Who's doing all the murdering? Who's doing all the chemical warfare? Who's doing all the wars? Who's doing all this? They go against the Israelites. But when has the Israelite ever lynched anybody? Who's been doing the lynching? The KKK. Who's been doing all the race attacks? The skinheads, KKK, and all that. When has Jake ever done anything like that? Jake is just too busy deleting each other. Right? And still, you Israelites still want to trust the damn enemy, man. And it's going to lead to your demise, because you should know the track record of the so-called white man. But Jake is just too busy loving everyone with that wacky-tacky Christianity, Caesar Borgia, faggot bullshit. Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. I mean, I was a child before I even knew about anything about the truth. I knew that the so-called white man wasn't right. I never liked those motherfuckers as a child. I remember 9, 10, 11, 12. I never liked them. Never liked being around them. Never liked talking to them. I knew they weren't right. I would always watch movies as a child about these crackers taking over different lands, and I would say, "Ah, the damn white man." And before I knew the truth, I would, sometimes be on the bus as a child talking to Jake, Benjamin Jake, and we talk about the atrocities, just random conversations with a stranger. Because back then, the '90s, early '90s, mid '90s, late '90s, Jake was a little bit more, on that fight the power sort of vibe. So people of color usually start talking about the so-called white man's atrocities, because we usually have that commonality that the damn white man is a damn problem. So-called white man, Esau. Now knowing it, that damn, I was talking to my people all along. I was talking to Benjamin. I was talking to Judah. You don't trust his damn enemy, man. And if you've taken the wacky tacky juice, you failed the first test anyway. Okay. But then again, some people might have passed the first test of C1 and not taken the wacky tacky juice, or the snake juice, and might take the charagma. You don't trust this damn enemy, man. Our people, listen, we're the largest nation on the planet Earth, Hosea 1 and 10. Our people are going to fall in. There's traps and snares, man. And our people don't look at it, because every time they watch the news, they think that whatever the news report is spewing out of their mouth is law, like it's coming out of the mouth of the Most High. Like the Most High is saying, okay, yeah, this is what you got to do. And so white man says, oh, yeah, the white man said it. We got to do it. You know how Jake's going to say, oh, the man said it. We got to do it. All right. But they're not going to deceive the elect, because, paraphrasing scripture, the Lord said that if it were possible, they'll try and deceive the elect. But Yahweh Shemashai is not going to get the elect deceived, because the elect have been covered by Yahweh Shemashai since the foundation of the earth. All right. And the Lord has sent angels, pursuant to Psalms 91:11, to guide them in all their ways, to guide them, to give them signs, clues, indications of how to take the right path. All right, Tony Blair. I'm just focusing on the UK in this vid. I'm on this biometricupdate.com. Tony Blair. Okay, here's another one. Okay, another one of the enticements, another one of their problem reaction solution scenarios. Okay, what's the date of this first? February the 3rd, 2025. Okay. Tony Blair, biometricupdate.com. Tony Blair, digital ID system can stop populists, bring order to illegal immigration. What the hell is a populist? Let's see what the definition of that is. Definition of populist: a person, especially a politician, who strives to appeal to ordinary people who feel that their concerns are disregarded by established elite groups. So, a person, especially a politician, who strives to appeal to ordinary people who feel that their concerns are disregarded by established elite groups. All right. So basically, someone's who's trying to wake up the common folk. All right, against the so-called powers that be. Let's go to that article again. A digital ID system can stop populists. A digital ID system can stop populists. All right, so stop people waking other people up, right? Or the common folk. What populist means, and also bring order to illegal immigration. ID system can stop populists, bring order to illegal immigration. That's another one. They're pumping all. That's another factor. I didn't mention that. That's another element as well. Illegal immigration. Okay. Now they're trying to bring up the racial thing with the so-called white man. Okay. First of all, they're saying, "Oh yeah, you're losing your country. England for the English. America for the Americans, Australia for the Australians, when the real indigenous people are not there. But a so-called white man can go over there. It's like me stealing some cracker's house, right? Knocking him over the head, right? Stealing his house, burying his bones in the back garden with him and his whole family, and living in that yard for 25, 30 years. Oh, it's my house. It's my house. It's got my name on it, right? And if and the ancestors come saying, no, no, that belongs to us. I'm in the will. It's not yours. No, but it's mine. You know, when the whole earth belongs to Jacob, but Esau can come and steal it, right? But now they're doing the same thing as well. All these immigrants coming in, taking your jobs, taking the white man's jobs, taking the white man's woman, um, taking oh yeah, and another one as well. They're graping the local women. And every time some bitch is graped, right? I'm not saying that that's a good thing to do. What they call grape in this world, right? That's definitely not a good. It's a very evil thing. But we can see pick the meat from the bones, man, or take the bones away from the meat and throw the filth away, throw the bones away, right? Because some of this stuff is actually acted. There are actors out there, lower level and a higher level, which are used. Because remember, media is witchcraft. Okay, they're going to use actresses boo-hooing, saying that they were raped by some foreigner in America. They're going to focus on mainly the Latin man. Okay, they ain't going to say, oh, the South African Edomite. They're not going to say Habibi from down the block who owns the 7-Eleven or whatever, or Mr. Patel. They ain't going to use that. They're going to use uh, uh, his Spanish, Latino type surnames. They're going to use brown faces. They're going to use so-called black men. Illegal immigrants or from Haiti or whatever, running into stores, stealing goods and services. Stealing goods, and then they say, "Oh, it's affecting the economy. It's affecting jobs because they're stealing products and food out of stores." You know, all these illegal immigrants taking jobs, taking a free housing that can go to the local population, right? So what's this going to lead to? Now they're going to, and a lot of Edomites are going to be up for it, saying, "Yeah, you know what? Let's take the CHIP. You know why? This way, this way, if the CHI, or let's go digital. We're all for it." And then obviously once they go digital and everyone's tracked, right? Okay, with the digital system, then when the financial system crashes and they're already digital, all right, and everything can be put into one place, and they don't need to carry keys and wallets around no more, not even a damn phone, right? At some point, that will happen as well in the very, 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 very near future. They're gonna say, you know what? Let's take the rice grain as well. Okay, so that comes into the element of problem, reaction, solution. All right, so calls for use of facial recognition systems to drive down crime. So that goes out, for you Jakes that like to wear them scullies and what do you call them? Shiesties. Tony Blair has another argument for introducing digital IDs in the UK, fighting populism. The former British Prime Minister has previously stated that a national digital ID system could allow citizens better access to government services, prevent crime, and benefit fraud, as well as lower costs in public administration. All right. But the Labour government should introduce digital IDs for another reason, and that is bringing order into illegal immigration. Order out of chaos. They create the chaos and they try and bring order. Remember that one? See, look how many elements he's mentioned. He's mentioned better access to government services, a seamless access to these things, right? Prevent crime. Okay, you can walk the streets again, right? Women won't be raped. There won't be no weirdos hanging on the corner smoking blunts or whatever. No weed smoke. And no benefit fraud as well. And lower costs. People love lower costs in public administration. All right. And also another reason, illegal immigration. Look at how many factors they've mentioned there. All right. See that? I mentioned other elements and now chucked in and other elements I mentioned as well. So there's a whole hodgepodge of different things that are going to be used to push people into a corner, to scare people, to create motions. So people will be all up for the digital. But a lot of people are against it because they like holding cash money. They like holding money clips. They like the old school, face-to-face interaction and giving cash money and taking change. People like that, right? And there's a lot of people that like that old school way. That's why people like, people are very retro. They like the 80s and 90s shit, 70s stuff, They like tapes and CDs, you know? So do I. But the world ain't gonna be like that anymore. Okay, so you're gonna have all these elements are coming together. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I need to read. Okay, what the populists do is they take a real grievance and they exploit it, but they very often don't want to have a solution because solutions are much tougher than talking about problems, says Blair. The grievance would be on immigration that the thing is out of control. All right. A digital ID system would also lower benefit fraud, which would discourage immigrants coming to the UK. So you got a lot of your scumbag Edomites that are lazy, that are probably from the family lines of slave owners, because they're not used to working, right? They don't want to do the lower level jobs that Jake is doing. They want to be on benefits, right? They want to moan about. They don't want to work. They don't want to work 6 days a week. They don't want to work the weekends. They're always moaning about low pay and all that, right? Those scumbags live in. It's actually the so-called white man that's on the highest benefits, right? And these people will say, okay, cool, which they'll be down to take the CHIP as well when the financial system crashes because they want their free money, they want that universal credit, right? And the way these dumbasses are going to think that, you know, these lower level crackers, these Joe Sixpack crackers and heathens, they're going to think that okay, you know what, these no immigrants coming in or lower immigrants coming in or no immigrants coming in, which will equate to them getting more benefit money, right? The UK government recently announced its plans to introduce the gov.uk digital wallet and app this year. The wallet will be used to ease access to public services for British residents and will hold mobile driving licenses, digitized veteran cards, and other digital documents. By the end of 2027, the platform will also be used for disclosure and barring service checks and all other government issued credentials. Now, the DBS is basically we understand everything else. The DBS is disclosure and barring is basically, for example, when you apply for a job, they might do like criminal background check and things like that. That's what they do. And this is an official website, gov.uk, which is basically all centered around government activities, immigration, benefits, universal credit, tax credits, criminal background checks, things of that nature. The UK has also revealed a blueprint for modern digital government, which sets out a 6-point plan. They've got to throw that six in there for government digital reform, including technologies such as AI. Alongside the new plans, the government is reorganizing the Government Digital Service, GDS, office, which will be responsible for the gov.uk digital wallet and app, along with other digital public infrastructure initiatives. Right, let's see anything else. Down there with the whole article. All right. So you can see where we're going, right, with this. And this is from February 2025, right? We're in May, 31st of May. It's June. It's June tomorrow. Okay. Now, let's see what happens in June and July, what Yahweh Shemashai does, right? Me personally thinking through the Spirit, I believe things are going to really pick up between June and July. After July, probably a little bit more. Because then after July, the 4th, we are approaching that 250-year mark for America as well, right? Which means the Lord is going to speed up things even more, right? So you've got to look at different factors as well, man. Timelines, prophecies, all these kinds of things come together in the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yashai, which the Lord gives signs and indications so you can be circumspect and keep watch and know where you're at, so you know where you're going, which is a straight gate, Lord willing, into the chariot, man, if it's the Lord's will for you to be on the chariot first trip, Okay, I read that one. Is there anything else? What's the other scripture that I had? I had Isaiah 36 and 6. Yeah, it's got it. Isaiah 36 and 6. Isaiah 36 and 6. Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed. Okay, the Lord said, never trust thine enemy. Isaiah 36 and 6. Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed, on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. Okay, you're going to trust in the Pharaoh of this Egypt. All right, and then you're going to get that piercing, man, that penetration into your hand. All right, okay. Revelation 13:16. This is the ultimate goal, man. All right. Now people are already telling you. People they're already showing Remember another thing as well. They're doing their advertising, the indirect advertising, or how you want to call it, direct advertising, their marketing. They're showing all these weirdo momos type characters around the world, showing their plush life and their electric cars and their lovely neighborhood that's meticulous and clean. They're talking about how great it is to open their car door with their hand, to open their office door with their hand. They're even showing regular security guys that do a regular job, so they're aiming for the high level people, so to speak, as well as your Joe Six-Pack people, so to speak, crackers, mainly they focus on. And they also show a lot of Israelites as well, because their main goal is to get you Israelites CHIP'd as well. That's why in commercials and movies and shows, they show you Jakes, taking it, or being, using you in commercials as well. The same way they use you in commercials for promoting McDonald's and Burger King and all that pig shit, eating all swine and filth and garbage foods. So you Jakes eat it. The same way they use you for every negative element. All right. So they're using, as mentioned, what I was saying earlier, they're using high level people, right, as well as your low level people, and they're telling you about the benefits of being CHIP'd. They talk about security guard. He was saying that, yeah, I got the CHIP in my hand. All I got to do is walk around the building, and I can scan and go from floor to floor and do my security checks. I think they check every hour, I believe, doing a 12-hour shift with their taking care of a building. Something like that. They don't have to carry a whole wad of keys. A person living that owns a business, or is worried about fraud, or his wallet being stolen, or his phone being stolen. And have you noticed that they're showing all these videos of pickpockets around London and different parts of the world as well, and who they're using as the pickpockets, which is mostly, it's true to a certain degree. They're using people of color, right? But there's also could be actors as well, because damn, it's like every time these motherfuckers are doing some kind of crime, it's like there's a damn camera. They're getting perfect angles. I mean, but then again, people have phones and people are always recording something, so you got to look at both angles, okay? Because some of it's organized, some of it is there, naturally happening, just all to put you, to scale you towards the CHIP, ultimately, to avoid theft, to have a seamless life. You don't have to don't have to carry a phone, a wad of keys. You don't have to carry a wallet. You don't have to carry anything. That's why they show you in a lot of cartoons and shows, where they don't have pockets. But how did they show you in Back to the Future? Back to the Future 2. The fashion was what? Your pockets turned inside out. Why? Because they ain't going to use no currency in the future. They only showed it a little bit, where they showed Marty McFly, or was it Biff, pay for the taxi with his thumbprint. Right? All right. Actually, let me just Google a picture of the Jetsons. Did they show pockets on them? Image of the Jetsons. Let's see if I can find them with the just. You got to find the classic one I used to watch from the 60s, I believe. Let me see. There's an image here. Let's see if they've got any pockets. Yeah, woman ain't carrying no purse, no pockets. I mean, this show you got to look at the little things as well, And this is ultimately going to lead to the CHIP, because their reasons are going to be safety, crime prevention, the protection of the economy, job protection, less immigrants, less crime, right? Your children can be safe. Oh, then they might even act out like hundreds of children going missing on the streets. They might make up all these AI pictures and put them online. Oh, Timmy's missing, 4-year-old, and they're going to heighten the emotions of mothers, and they're going to be looking at their children while they breathe at night. Oh, I don't want my son or daughter to go missing. I'm going to CHIP them. That's going to be another element they're going to use. Fear tactics. Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their hand or in their foreheads. That's that penetration. Okay, Elon Musk is showing it to you in their foreheads. Okay, Neuralink. Okay, for example, then they're already showing it to you in parts of the world, like I believe is it Sweden? Yeah, that's pretty much CHIP. A lot of them, You pull out currency, cash money. If you go into one of their stores, they look at you like you got two heads. You know, so a lot of countries are getting with it, especially China. China's another example. And you're telling me if all these large companies, like for example China, that's the, you're pretty much buying their products wherever you go. You're telling me if they're going digital and a lot of people are going to go towards a CHIP there, you think that's not going to carry on around the world? Because how are they going to? How's China going to do business with other countries? They're not going to. They're not going to do bank transfers, you know, of cash. You know, it'll be digital. It'll be no physical money. And how are they going to do that? For the most part, as we progress, a lot of people are going to take the CHIP. So, 13:16 again, and he causeth all, both small and great, okay, all and every people, right, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Okay, commerce, verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. Verse 18, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay? 666. That's how you're going to buy and sell. The new form of commerce and technology. Okay. Transforming digital future, 22 to 2025. Let's see what the government website is saying. Transforming for a digital future, 2022 to 2025. Roadmap for digital and data updated September 2023. I'm not going to read all that. Okay, digital transformation has unrivaled potential to improve the lives of citizens. See, they're using the term citizens. They want to improve the lives of you. Citizens basically alludes to what they will call the actual ethnic group within that country. Like the honkies in this country would say, "Oh, Britain for the English," or England for the English, right? So digital transformation has unrivaled potential to improve the lives of citizens throughout the UK and modernize the way government works. People across the country rightly expect public services to be high quality, easy to access, and available whenever they need them. They also have a right to expect that every penny they pay in tax is used as productively and efficiently as possible. Last year, the government launched a Transforming for a Digital Future, the 2022 to 2025 roadmap for digital data, with an ambition to transform public services, deliver world-class technology, and attract and retain the best digital talent. All right, which means a lot of people are going to get let go of, okay, because they're going to have like one person or two people doing the jobs of 25, 30 people. So they're going to get the best digital talent, all right. Obviously, those with the best understanding with regards to certain technologies, and also maybe they might look at degrees as well, because that means a lot to them, and also seniority and the companies that they've worked for. So that's going to get a lot of you guys that only know about there's going to be a lot of high unemployment in that area also, because they're only going to take the best of the best, right? The roadmap charted a clear set of priorities focusing on the biggest digital opportunities. It was written by leaders across government who came together to identify HMG's collaborative next steps in digital and address recommendations identified in two reports in 2021. All right, two reports in 2021. And remember, 2021 was what? The first or year and 18 months into the C19 situation, right? I think C19. When did it come apart? I mean, I found about it. When did it? When was it sort of like around the world? And everybody knew about it. It was March 2020, wasn't it? Yeah, March 2020. So basically, this is like about a year into it. So these were identified in reports in 2021, organizing for digital delivery, and the challenges in implementing digital change. All right, this is called gradualism. All right, they're not going to just crash the economy overnight. You're using cash money like it was the '70s, and everything's perfect. Everyone's partying and partying and bullshitting, and everyone's using cash money, and everyone's at work, and there's no remote work, and everyone's physically in the offices and the high streets, and the strips are popping, and then they just crash the economy. Oh, you got to take the chip? No. All right, you got to take the potato chip? No. It's going to be gradualism, slowly, the same way, right? You would watch a movie, right, or your old neighborhood videos on YouTube and say, okay, let me see the street how it used to look back in '97. And you were there in 1997 as a 21, 22-year-old young man. You walk those streets and you see, damn, man, that phone box ain't there no more. Look how the cars look. They look crazy old. Because over a gradualism over the last 25, 30 years, you've gradually seen change, gradually seen cars change, gradually seen fashions change. And you just got used to it. It's gradualism. All right. But when you look at it straight down the line, cut down in the middle, and you compare that era to now, you think, damn, what a difference. Look at the cars look old as fuck in '97, man. Look at the cop cars, how they look. And I was just thinking about that because I just saw a video recently of the neighborhood I grew up in London, how it used to look in '97, and how it looks now. So this is gradualism. So they're slowly getting you used to it. The same way they're slowly getting you used to being okay with momos and weirdos and men dressed like women. It's okay. And the same way they're getting used to it where you're seeing reaction video or you're watching comedy show, right? They're quite sensitive about certain topics. All right. And back in the '70s and '80s and '90s, you would hear racist shit all the time and what the world would call today homophobic things all the time. But it wasn't homophobic. Listen, forget all that Momo shit. That's disgusting anyway. But you understand what I'm trying to say, right? So let's go to John 10:10. A thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. Okay, that's the thief is a so-called white man. All right, other heathen nations too. All right, they've been stealing, right? They've been killing and they've been destroying, and they want to do that further. They want to destroy you spiritually as well, even further. All right, they want to have complete control over you. But the elect are not going to get stolen. I'm sorry, the elect are not going to get are not going to fall into the traps and snares. All right, these traps and snares are created for you unelect, you 2/3, and we don't care about the heathen. F them. All right, because if they make it through all these things that are going to happen, Jacob's trouble included, they get through it. They're just going to if they're in the European side or the UK side or whatever, they're going into slavery. But in America, they're all going to be deleted and burnt up. If they make it through all the other, if they get over all the other roadblocks that are coming, right? The climactic part will be they're going to get burnt up in nuclear fire if they're in America. All right. The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. Okay. Then Yahushua says, Yahushua has come for the elect. I am come that they are the elect might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. And that's eternal life, man, for the elect. All right. All right. I'm going to emphasize Ecclesiasticus 12:10 again. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Never trust the devil, man. All right. You've seen the track record of the so-called white man. How many handshakes did they do with Sitting Bull and all the other great warriors, man, the Gadite warriors, man? So-called native Indians. Oh, we are not going to take your land no more. You can live in peace, with your multiple wives and have children and, all that kind of thing. We're not going to take your land no more. Over 400 treaties made. And it's Esau still shitted all over the so-called native Indians and the tribe of Gad. Right? They let Israelites go. Oh, go and build your black cities and towns. Go and thrive. You're free now. You're not chained no more. You're not shackled no more. What does so-called white man do? Bomb and blow those thousands of thriving so-called black cities. And the most common one we all know of, Rosewood, all right? Black Wall Street. And there were thousands of others. It wasn't just two. right? And look at the history after that of our people, prior to that of our people, of the so-called white man. Where has the so-called white man gone and left people alone? The Edomites. Huh? They're evil by nature. That's why they're the sons of the wicked. But we, the Israelites, are the sons of God, man. All right? So beware, beware, Jake. That time is coming, man. All right? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. All praises to Yahweh Bashem Yashai Bashem Rakakudash. Mawatha Bad Babal Kwam Yashwala Shalom.